1,358,925 is for the statutory transfer, while the sum of 14,317,142,690,548 is for the debt services, while the sum of 13,588,9,682,673 is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, and while the sum of 23,439,251,624,250 naira is for capital expenditure for the year ending 31st December 2025. Relying on the earlier stated order of the Senate, that is Order 1B and 52C of the Senate Standing Order 2023 as amended, accordingly resolved to rescind his decision on this affected line item, the long title has passed, and recommit same to the Committee of Supply for reconsideration and passage. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I so move.
The Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I second this motion. And
Please,
want to...
speak out. Use your campaign voice.
I say, first of all, I second this motion. And as a former chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, both in the House of Representatives and in the Senate here, the immediate past chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, I know normally after every appropriation process, you could have some errors due to the clerical staff errors or calculation error or human nature. And then you come forward to, correct those errors. Thank God they are very meticulous and they've been able to discover these errors at this point before the budget is even passed. I mean, before the president has sent to it. Otherwise, we'll have come under corrigendum, writing corrigendum here and there. So I commend them for being able to discover these errors. So therefore, I think the best thing is for us to move forward and get this corrected so that we can package the entire thing. They can package the entire thing and get that forwarded to Mr. President for his assent as soon as possible. I don't think there's any need for any debate here, rather than to get the entire thing passed so that we can move forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
But let me ask a question. Does this deviate from the total sum that was passed by the Senate? No, let him answer so that he doesn't come back with another one.
No, sir, there is no any change in the total sum of 54.99 billion budget that was passed by the 54 trillion 90 billion budget that was passed by this Senate and the National Assembly. The only area where there is movement is between the recurrent and capital expenditure as stated in the long title of the bill that I read in the concluding part of this motion.
Okay, so the Chairman of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, my name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. Your Excellency, I think this is one thing that we should commend the Appropriation Committee for cleaning up what has been presented, and before the final assent to the budget, if you look at the recurrent, you will possibly see either an agency or an MDA over blotting what they're supposed to have taken earlier. So what the Appropriation Committee did was align them so that the recurrent and the capital will go as they're supposed to be in the budget. And what they have done is right. And I believe that all here, because we have also in the Finance Committee looked at the presentation right from the budget office to the time that we ran the MTEP and everything, and we saw that everything aligned. So what the Chairman of Appropriation Committee have presented is in order, and I call on my distinguished colleagues to just pass this thing without pass this amendment without any delay.
Well, just a question. We have a bicameral legislature. The motion for rescission, which is in line with our standing orders, is it also being done in the House of Representatives?
Mr. President, it's one budget, the same budget, and it's the same report. If you could recall, it was a joint report that was signed by both chambers. And we are looking at the same thing, and we are doing the same thing as we speak. As what we are doing here, they are doing the same because we presented a joint report.
That's my question.
Okay.
I wanted to be sure that we are not going to set up another committee
to
harmonize anything.
No.
So it's a joint what you are bringing before us,
yes,
are corrections that are being done
in the House of Reps
simultaneously.
Mutatis
mutandis.
Yes.
And then automatically we can go ahead to invite a seconder to this motion. Yes, distinguished Senator Sani Musa. It been seconded. Oh, so that was what the Deputy Senate President did. I mean, you didn't say so. You started with a voice. You started with a bedroom voice. Instead of you to use your campaign voice. So I didn't hear when you said I second. So the motion is seconded, and I think the correct thing will be to put the question. They asked only one line item. Those in support that we rescind the decision on the affected items, the long title has passed, and recommit same to the Committee of Supply for immediate reconsideration and passage. Say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. The majority leader, you may move a motion for us to move to Committee of Supply to conclude this.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the Senate at this time now dissolve to a Committee of Supply to enable us consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion moved by the leader that the Senate resolves into the Committee of Supply to consider the motion. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do resolve into Committee of the Whole, Committee of Supply rather, to rescind the decisions made earlier to enable us clean up the entirety of the budget. Those in support of the motion as moved say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we resolve into Committee of Supply. Distinguished colleagues, the line items in the 2025 appropriation bill pursuant to orders 1B and 52(6) of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended. On recurrent expenditure for Ministry of Defense, the sum of 2,491,697,693,333 naira. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Ministry of Police Affairs, 1,224,847,747,148 naira. Those in support of this to form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Total pension gratuities and retirement benefits, 1,444,441,338 naira. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Office of the Head of Civil Service in terms of civilian pensions, 46,604,14 naira, 614,759,908. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For military pension and gratuities, DMP, those in support that the total herein stated form part of the bill, 83 billion. No, I'm saying, what should I have said 83 trillion? Ashiru. So there's Ashiru. Listen very well to the Senate President first. So I said 83 billion. Then approach the chair. Distinguished colleagues, sorry, on my own sheet, there was a slight error. So it has been corrected now. So for military pensions and gratuities, DMP, the sum of 383 billion, 966 million, 663,210 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. I will ignore it because I know that Senator Garba is looking for my trouble. He wants me to say something so that you carry me to social media. So you are ruled out of order. So please, on NHIS, military retirees, has corrected 3 billion 571 million 846,330, as against previous provision of 2 billion 349 million 913,660. Those in support of the correction are stated herein to form part of the Appropriation Act, Appropriation Bill, when signed into an Act of Parliament for 2025. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. As against previous provision, the Defense Intelligence Agency civilian staff, the new provision is 5 billion 434 million 999,446 naira. Those in support that this forms part of the 2025 appropriation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Department of State Services, as against the previous provision, the corrected bill now, the sum of 24 billion 840 million 738,683 naira. Those in support that this forms part of the original bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the Nigeria Intelligence Agency, the sum of 20 billion 419 million 974,385. Those in support that this forms part of the original bill, as against previous provision, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For pension transitional arrangement, PTAD, as against previous provision, those in support that the sum of 42 billion 780 million 858,001 naira form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For police pensions and gratuities, the sum of 10 billion 455 million 196,504 naira to form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For Customs, Immigration and Pensions Office, the corrected version 13 billion 845 million 63,323 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For universities pensions, including arrears, the sum of 10 billion 313 million 472,286 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For parastatals pension and railway pensions, the sum of 43 billion 472 million 254,879 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For NEMCO, the sum of 19 billion 888,983 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For national pension, PENCOM, the sum of 804,740,911,178 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For other pensions, the sum of 13,805,814,220 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, for capital expenditure in the presidency, the sum of 142,785,422,787 naira provided. Those in support of this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For Federal Ministry of Information, National Orientation, the sum of 31 million. The sum of 31,264,068,242 naira should form part of the bill. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the police affairs, the sum of 87,019,440,957 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For national security, the sum of 354,863,641,934 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the office of the SGF, the sum of 153,812,045,743 naira. Those in support that this form part of the original bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, the sum of 1,306,580,722 naira. Those in support that this form part of the original bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For Ministry of Labor and Productivity, the sum of 209,188,499,181 million. Those in support that this form part of the original bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For innovation, Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, the sum of 1,661,859,526 naira. Those in support that this form part of the original bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For Ministry of Transportation, the sum of 266,486,720,485 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For Ministry of Works, the sum of 2,198,000 Let me take that again. For Ministry of Works, the sum of 2,198,093,503 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For Ministry of Water Resources, the sum of 598,198,497,644 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, the sum of 54,605,869,710 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the Federal Ministry of Education, the sum of 944,631,558 naira, 706 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, the sum of 1,048,828,785,538 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the Ministry of Environment, the sum of 84,128,766,906 naira. Those in support that this form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. For the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, the sum of 289,547,553,780 naira. Those in support that this form part of the original bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the total outlay from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation remains same, 54,190,165,396 naira only. Those in support that this original computation of the 2025 bill, which remains same, should remain part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. In view of the realignments from the error detected, the sum of 3,645,761,358,925 naira will now be will form the statutory transfers. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The sum of 14,317,000,000 142,689,548 naira only for debt servicing remains part of the bill. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 13,588,9,682,673 naira remains recurrent debt expenditure for the year. Those in support that this one, which has not changed, form part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 23,439,251,624,250 naira only for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending 31st of December 2025. Forms part of the bill. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So if you would notice, we had to go into details in order to ensure that clarity becomes the mother of the game, and particularly the transparency exhibited by the two committees of appropriation, both in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. So we can now say that yes, indeed, the appropriation bill as passed, which was a total, remains a total, but just these errors that were detected have now been corrected. The Senate Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the Senate Leader has moved a motion seconded by the Minority Leader that we do revert to plenary in order for the chair to report progress. Those in support that this Committee of Supply reverts to plenary, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of Supply considered the rescission of some line items in the 2025 appropriation bill order 2023 as amended and approved as follows. Recurrent expenditure as recommended. Ministry of Police Affairs as recommended. Total pension, gratuity, and retirement benefits as recommended. Office of the Head of Service Provision as recommended. Military pensions and gratuities as recommended. NHIS military retirees as recommended. DIS civilian staff pensions and gratuities as recommended. Department of State Security Services as recommended. Nigerian Intelligence Agencies provision as recommended. Pension Transition Arrangement Directorate (PTAD) as recommended. Police pensions and gratuities as recommended. Customs, Immigration, and Pensions Office recommendation as recommended. Universities pensions, including the arrears, as recommended. Parastatals pensions, including railway pensioners pension, as recommended. NELMCO as recommended. National Pension Commission (PENCOM) as recommended. Other pensions as recommended. Presidency allocation as recommended. Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation as recommended. Ministry of Police Affairs as recommended. National Security Advisor's Office as recommended. Secretary to Government of the Federation's Office as recommended. Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment as recommended. Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology as recommended. Federal Ministry of Transportation as recommended. Federal Ministry of Works as recommended. Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation as recommended. Federal Ministry of Women Affairs as recommended. Federal Ministry of Education as recommended. Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare as recommended. Federal Ministry of Environment as recommended. Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of Supply?
Right, yeah.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the bill be now read the third time as amended. I so move.
The minority leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the bill be read the third time. I so second, as amended.
The clerk
I so
of the
second.
Senate. Clerk of the Senate, you may wish to read the bill for the third time.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,342,142,689,548 naira only is for debt service. 13,588,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,439,251,624,250 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025, SB 681, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to authorize the issuance from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation of the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers, whilst 14,300,172,609,548 naira only is for debt servicing. The sum of 13,588,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,489,254,254,50 naira only is for contributions to the Development Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending 31st day of December 2025. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to authorize the issuance from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,142,142,689,548 naira only is for debt servicing. 13,588,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,439,251,624,250 naira only is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025, third reading taken and passed. Well, let me once again commend the chairman and members of the Appropriation Committee for detecting these typographical errors and bringing them on time for us to rescind and re-present to Mr. President for assent, because it would have taken a longer procedure for amendment if this had already been transmitted to Mr. President for assent. So I commend you for the transparency. But I thought you also add that you apologize to the Senate for the errors. You want to say something on that before I rule?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. I just want to use this opportunity to thank Mr. President, the principal officer, and the entire Senate for their usual support, and that for the stress we have taken you through. As chairman of the committee, we say we are sorry, but it's just that we have no other choice than to go through this process. Once again, I thank everybody. Thank you, sir.
Your apology is accepted by the entire Senate. Those in support of the apology, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. And in reality, those in support of the recommendation for the transparency, say aye. Those against, say nay. The recommendation is upheld. So thank you, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of His Excellency, distinguished Senator Akpabio Godswill Obot, GCON, on the National Assembly Service Bill 2025, SB 712. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Yes. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Assembly Service Bill 2025, SB 712, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, National Assembly Service Bill 2025, SB 712, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Banigo Ikpalebo Hari on the Customs, Excise Tariff, etc. Consolidation Act, Amendment Bill 2025, SB 713. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Customs, Excise Tariff, etc. Consolidation Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 713, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Customs, Excise Tariff, etc. Consolidation Act Amendment Bill 2025, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Samson Akpan Ekron on the Child Rights Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 714. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Child Rights Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 714, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Child Rights Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 714, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Adebule Idiat Oluranti on the Birth, Death, etc. Compulsory Registration Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 715. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Births, Deaths, etc. Compulsory Registration Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 715, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Births, Deaths, etc. Compulsory Registration Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 715, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Jibril Issa on the Federal University of Education, Ankpa, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2025, SB 716. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of Education, Ankpa, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2025, SB 716, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal University of Education, Ankpa, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2025, SB 716, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the only order of the day is the consideration of a House bill for concurrence on the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2025, HB 712, Mr. President, for the very simple nature of the bill and for purposes of interchamber reciprocity, I will like to present a lead debate on this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I like to second the motion as moved by the Senate Leader. I so second.
Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, lead debate on the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2025 HB 712 for concurrence from the House of Representatives. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this important bill from the House of Representatives for concurrence. The Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2025 HB 712 was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Thursday, 5th December 2024. The bill seeks to amend the extant act to streamline its provisions in conformity with modern dynamics in accounting practice and procedure. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, this bill is straightforward and has gone through the necessary legislative process in the House of Representatives. I therefore urge you all to support the second reading of this bill as we refer it to the Committee of the Whole for clause-by-clause consideration. I thank you.
Distinguished Senator Mongoro.
President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, this bill is res ipsa locutor. It speaks for itself. It merely seeks to bring the practice of accounting in tandem with international best practice and equally in tandem or in consonance with modern day technological requirement in this digital age. So I'm inviting my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill for concurrence without much ado. Thank you.
The DSP.
Thank you, Mr. President. Barrow Jibrin Kano North. Member Annan. Mr. President, this bill is very straightforward, a bill for concurrence. In order to agree to concur with the Senate, to the House of Representatives on this bill. It's a bill that tends to streamline, to modernize the law setting up Annan so that it can go with the current dynamics of the accounting profession worldwide, so that it can go with the contemporary happenings within the accounting profession. The world changes, so also all aspects of our lives change. Therefore, the profession decided on its own, the association decided on its own that we should have a relook at the entire law setting up the association, ANAN. And so this bill is brought forward in order to modernize the law set up by ANAN so that it can go in tandem with the current realities in the accounting profession worldwide. So, friend, I'm a member of ANAN, and I support this bill, and I want my colleagues to also support this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, DSP. Speaking from an informed position, I don't think we have any issue. So Senate Leader, you may wish to move that we resolve it the Committee of the Whole to take the bill by clause.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the Senate resolve to a committee.
Okay, second reading. Okay, proceed.
Well, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my motion should be deemed to be a motion that this bill
Be read
now read for the second time. So you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate.
Clerk of the Senate.
Thank you.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act, Cap A26, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and for related matters, 2025, HB 712, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act Cap A26, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matters 2025, HB 712, second reading. Thank you. This bill is now referred to the Committee of the Whole for further consideration. Without the Senate.
Mr. President, I now rise to move that the Senate resolve to a committee of the whole for further consideration of this bill. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. I rise to second the motion that the Senate resolve to committee of whole to consider the clause by clause of the bill. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, pursuant to Order 78, Subsection 3 of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended, the motion has been moved by the Senate Leader and seconded by the Minority Leader that this August Assembly now revert to Committee of the Whole to consider this bill clause by clause. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the report on a bill for an act to amend the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act 1993 and for related matters HB 712, Amendment of Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act 1993, Clause 1, return. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2 to clause 2, 3, 4 as returned. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 5, clause 6, clause 7, clause 8, clause 9, clause 10, clause 11, clause 12, clause 13, clause 14, clause 15, as returned. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 16, the citation. This bill may be cited as the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2023. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The explanatory memorandum. The bill is now amended. The explanatory memorandum as returned. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, long title on page 1, clauses 1 to 16, as recommended. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Interpretation clause 15 on page 6, as returned. Those in support say aye. The ayes have it. Those against say nay. Short title, clause 16, page 7. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The explanatory memorandum on page 7. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Leader, you may wish to move that we revert to plenary to report progress.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so move.
Minority Leader.
President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this assembly now reverts to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we revert to plenary. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2025 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 14 as recommended. Interpretation clause 15 as recommended. Short title clause 16 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the bill be now read for the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the bill be read a third time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support that this bill be now read a third time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act, Cap A26, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and for related matters, 2025, HB 712, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act, Cap A26, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matters 2025, HB 712, third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria Act, Cap A26, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matters 2025. Third reading taken and passed. Let me thank the distinguished senators and all who contributed to this concurrence, and thank the House of Representatives for doing a very thorough job that has enabled us to concur with what they did in amending this act, and hope that this has now brought the act in conformity with global best practices in the accounting profession. And Deputy Senate President, DSP, I congratulate you as a member of ANAN and pray that this will now move the accounting profession forward in Nigeria. Congratulations to all. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings on the order paper, I hereby move that the Senate do adjourn till Wednesday, the 19th day of February 2025
Leader of the Senate.
at 11 a.m.
Leader of the Senate.
Yes, sir.
The Senate will adjourn for 1 hour to enable us to come back to take the votes and proceedings in order to transmit the corrected version of the budget to Mr. President for immediate assent. So you may wish to move that we adjourn for 1 hour and reconvene.
I'm well guided, Mr. President, and I thank you. It's important to also emphasize to our colleagues that there's a need to approve our votes and proceedings today. I therefore amend my motion, Mr. President, to say that the Senate do adjourn for 1 hour to enable us reconvene to approve the votes and proceedings to ensure prompt transmission of the Appropriation Bill 2025 as passed to Mr. President. I so move.
Yes, the Minority Leader.
President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the Senate adjourns for 1 hour to reconvene to consider the votes and proceedings of the Senate. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, this motion is very important, and I hope distinguished Senator Jimmy Kuta is listening to what we are saying. I didn't ask you, but I just want you to listen to what we are saying. And that includes the Yobe and Borno states, distinguished Senator Bomai and distinguished Senator Ali Ndume, and of course, distinguished Senator Ojus Okalu and distinguished Senator Hussein Babangida. The Senate will adjourn for 1 hour, if approved, and reconvene to enable us consider the votes and proceedings for expeditious passage and transmission of the bill to Mr. President for assent. Those in support that we have a break of 1 hour and reconvene to pass our votes and proceedings to enable the Secretariat transmit the 1 hour. 1 hour, because you are elders. We can't push you too hard. So our elder statesman suggested, but distinguished senator, 1 hour is good. Okay, so distinguished colleagues, those in support that we adjourn for 1 hour to come back and consider our votes and proceedings to enable us to transmit the corrected version of the Appropriation Act of 2025 to Mr. President for immediate assent for the benefit and good of Nigeria. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We return in 1 hour.